Once upon a time in the late 1960s in Los Angeles, a young man named Raymond Lee Washington found himself tangled in the web of gang life. Growing up in a neighborhood that was plagued with violence and poverty, Raymond sought a sense of belonging and protection. With limited options and influenced by the street culture surrounding him, he made the fateful decision to form his own gang. Raymond's vision began modestly as he gathered a group of like-minded individuals who shared his experiences and struggles. Together, they formed what would eventually become known as the Crips. Originally starting as a minor street gang, the Crips held their ground, fighting against rival factions and making their presence known. Raymond had a different vision for the Crips, one that went beyond typical gang activity. He wanted to create a sense of unity and brotherhood among the members, offering them a support system they desperately needed. From the outset, he emphasized the importance of education, aiming to break the cycle of poverty that had entrapped their community for far too long. As the Crips gained popularity and began to expand, Raymond maintained a balance between protecting their turf and focusing on positive change. He organized community events, encouraged his members to finish their education, and even initiated programs to help unemployed youth find stable jobs. Raymond understood that education and economic stability were key to breaking free from the grip of poverty and violence. However, as the Crips grew, their positive intentions drifted away. Power struggles began to emerge within the gang, with factions vying for control and influence. The original vision that Raymond had set forth slowly faded into the background as the gang became more involved in criminal activities. Raymond, once an advocate for education and community building, tried desperately to regain control of the spiraling organization. He urged his fellow members to remember their initial goals, to serve as a positive force within their community. But his pleas largely fell on deaf ears as the allure of power and money became too enticing for many. As the tensions escalated within the Crips, Raymond found himself caught in the crossfire. Frustrated with the direction the gang had taken, he became increasingly isolated from his once close companions. Raymond felt torn between his original intention for the Crips and the harsh reality of their current state. Tragically, Raymond's desire for change and unity ultimately led to his downfall. In 1979, at the age of 25, Raymond Lee Washington was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting. His death marked the loss of a young man who had once dreamed of breaking the cycle of poverty and violence that had gripped his community. Despite the dampening of Raymond's vision, the Crips endured and evolved. The gang's influence and reputation continued to grow throughout the ensuing decades, leaving behind a complex legacy. While Raymond's original intention may have been overshadowed, his early efforts did create a framework for community development and empowerment that has inspired subsequent generations. Today, the story of Raymond Lee Washington serves as a reminder of the harsh realities faced by marginalized communities and the challenges of steering a noble cause amidst the allure of power and crime. It urges us to reflect on the importance of unity, education, and positive change in breaking the cycle of violence that plagues so many neighborhoods. Following Raymond's untimely demise, the Crips entered a turbulent and transformative era. Leadership shifted, and the gang became entangled in a cycle of retaliatory violence with rival gangs, escalating the level of danger in their neighborhoods. The original vision for creating a supportive brotherhood faded, replaced by a ruthless pursuit of dominance and control. Nonetheless, echoes of Raymond's original ideals remained within the hearts of some Crip members. There were those who recognized the importance of education and community upliftment, and they sought to reclaim the original spirit of the gang. They understood that true power came not from violence and criminal activities, but from empowering themselves and their community through education and positive action. A small group of Crips began organizing workshops and mentorship programs, advocating for peace and providing opportunities for young people to learn and grow beyond the confines of the gang life. They forged partnerships with local schools and organizations, encouraging young men and women to pursue education, vocational training, and employment. These efforts, though small in scale, began to make a noticeable impact. Gradually, more Crip members started to reconnect with Raymond's vision, recognizing the importance of creating a better future for themselves and their communities. With time, a new generation of Crips emerged, driven by a desire for change and guided by the lessons of their predecessors. These reformed Crips set out to rebuild trust within their neighborhoods. They engaged in community service projects, cleaned up the streets, and provided support to families affected by violence. Through their actions, they aimed to demonstrate that the Crips could once again become a force for good, a symbol of resilience and unity. As news of the Crips' transformation began to spread, it caught the attention of academics, community leaders, and law enforcement agencies. Recognizing the potential for positive change, these entities sought to collaborate with the reformed Crips, offering support, mentoring programs, and resources to fuel their efforts. The reformed Crips grew in numbers and influence, inspiring other gangs to consider a similar path. Across Los Angeles, various gang leaders engaged in dialogues and negotiations, seeking alternatives to violence. Raymond's legacy, though marred by the gang's troubled history, became a catalyst for transformation. Years passed, and the reformed Crips continued to make strides. They expanded their programs, reaching out to youth vulnerable to gang involvement, providing mentorship, counseling, and educational opportunities. Raymond's original vision of creating a supportive brotherhood and breaking the cycle of poverty and violence began to manifest in these impactful initiatives. While the journey to redemption was long and arduous, Raymond Lee Washington's legacy lived on, reminding future generations that change is possible, no matter how dire the circumstances may seem. The story of the Crips teaches us that within every difficult chapter, there is opportunity for transformation and growth. Raymond's dream of a united community, where education and empowerment replace violence and despair, became a guiding light for many who sought a way out of the gang cycle. His story continues to inspire individuals to rise above their circumstances, and it serves as a reminder that the power to create positive change lies within each and every one of us.